I'm a guy that's 24. Each day I build some more. I like episode 7 and episode 8. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here back in with another video, and today we're going to have another episode of collecting every LEGO Star Wars minifigure ever made. This includes the rare figures like the Chrome C-3PO or the Cloud City Boba Fett. This does not include the one-off minifigs made of rare earth minerals. We're just not going to do that. But starting off on the left, we have Stormtrooper with dotted mouth, and this was actually in the 2006 Imperial Star Destroyer, which makes me kind of wonder why I bought this, because I definitely had that set when I was little, but I think I've pretty much put all my Stormtroopers that belong on the wall, and I probably just was missing this specific one. So glad to have it. Not really too much to say about it. It's one of the older Stormtrooper designs. No leg printing, there's back printing, there you go, there's back printing. But I mean, it's decent Stormtrooper. I like the most recent ones the most, but this one definitely got the job done for the many years before this was actually updated. Next up, we have Hoth Rebel Trooper from the 2009 Echo base set. Again, one of the more basic figures. Like it's pretty reminiscent of the original Hoth Rebel Trooper. I think they just this is maybe the first time I actually had this style of the goggles on the helmet for the Stormtrooper, if I'm not mistaken. And then eventually they actually went to the much better looking hat. The goggles look so silly when you have them down, and it's not even to say that the newer ones are any better, because even the ones with like the hat where the goggles are built into it, if you actually put them down, they look pretty absurd. So I'm honestly just not sure if there's a good solution to these Hoth hats with the goggles actually put down. This guy does have one of the backpacks. This is such an old classic LEGO piece, the like hiking style backpack in white for this guy. So once again, not too much to say there. And then next up, we have a flat silver assassin droid. This was from the 2009 Assassin Droid Battle Pack, which I still say is probably one of the worst battle packs ever made. But the figure is pretty decent. It's using the same basic like IG-88 design that they came up with originally, and they still, even to this day, are using this basic design for that assassin droid. One of the things about the figure I was sent is he has two of the like 90-degree arms, the ones where like the hand is twisted. He's only supposed to have one of them. I checked my collection, I didn't have an extra one, so that'll have to be something that I update. Next up on the left, we have the Atst Driver. This came in the Indoor Planet set from 2012, I believe, and I think this is a pretty good looking figure. I think the torso print actually looks really good, and that head print with like the chin strap also looks pretty nice. So I like this figure overall. We've got an even more updated version of this figure pretty recently actually, and I think that one looks a lot better in terms of the detail, but this one from 2012 really wasn't bad at all. Next up, we have an old Obi-Wan Kenobi. This figure is from a 2013 watch set. You're gonna realize a lot of the figures in this specific video came from watches. I don't know what it is about like the LEGO watches where, I mean, the ones that did come with figures back in the day, they're always like weird one-offs of the figures, like something was like subtly changed to where it made it, an exclusive figure, quote unquote. They would always do something with the figure to make it unique to that watch set for whatever reason. I'm kind of disappointed. The cape that I got from this one is like super bent up. You can see I'm like been trying to straighten it during the video, so I'm not in love with that. That's honestly why I prefer the newer spongy capes. This does not happen. I know you could just iron this and straighten it back out, but I don't want to have to do that. I just want the spongy cape that doesn't do this. No back printing under his cape. The front, I think the torso print is pretty decent. They use this same torso print on a few figures, and you can actually see this figure doesn't have pupils, so it's one of the older old bin faces, but I feel the torso detail is maybe like a little bit more up to date than the actual head print on it. But otherwise, decent looking old bin figure. Next up, we got two Clone Wars figures. On the left side is the Ayla Sakira. She came in the 2010 Clone Turbo Tank set, and I always clown these Clone Wars faces, and I mean, I think the newer Ayla from the Republic Fighter Tank looks significantly better than this one, but this one for back in the day wasn't that bad. Like, I think the head mold and printing on it looks incredible. That actually just looks freaking awesome. The back printing on this figure is also really nice. I can show you guys that up pretty close. It just looks really good. Like the print is very good. Like if the head was normal on this, I'd say this was you know, an excellent figure, but the head kind of knocks it down a few pegs. Even though it's not among the worst of the Clone Wars faces, it just really sticks out to me. I'm just not a fan of the Clone Wars faces in any capacity. Next up, we have Yoda, and this one's from, you guessed it, another watch set. This one came in apparently a 2013 and 2015 watch set. This is Yoda with white hair. There are other Yodas with white hair, but this one specifically doesn't have back printing. I think, you guys can correct me if I have this wrong, but I believe the original Clone Wars Yoda had gray hair and no back printing. And then they eventually updated it to have white hair and back printing, but this one specifically had white hair but no back printing. So I think that's really what's unique about this specific Yoda. Like I said, for whatever reason, when they do these watches, they do something to make the figure weird and not, you know, an exact version of something we got before. So, whatever. The next two figures are from Star Wars Rebels. On the left, we have my guy, Agent Kallus. This is the Agent Kallus that was in the 2015 Imperial Assault Carrier. Not a fan of that set whatsoever, which kind of explains why this is a more recent set that I just didn't have the figure from. But I do think that the printing is pretty good. I like his chest armor with the Imperial rank at the top right corner of the chest. You flip him around. He also has some pretty nice back printing. It's just always nice when LEGO puts that reflective print on the figure. It looks really good, especially contrasting against the mostly black color on his minifig torso. He does have a front and back face, so this is his normal neutral expression face. And if you flip him around, he has a more smiley expression. That's Happy Kallus. Next up, we have what Bricklink just calls Wookiee. This is from the Wookiee Gunship Microfighter in 2016. Not really too much to say here. I thought these Rebels Wookiees were good because they gave us more generic Wookiees that weren't like Chewbacca and Tarful. So I did appreciate us getting these, especially if you compare it to the most recent Wookiees. I think they're slightly under detailed, but they're not significantly under detailed. Like I would still use these in a Kashyyyk mock, for example, just to have some more generic Wookiees. The final figure of today is one that is near and dear to my heart, and this is the non-light up Mace Windu from the original Clone Turbo Tank set. If you're wondering why this figure exists, like why is there a light up Mace Windu and a non-light up Mace Windu, basically this was a running change in that original Turbo Tank set. So the original run of them, and up until a certain point, they had the connected lightsaber where you'd push the head down and the lightsaber would light up. And then they eventually just decided, for whatever reason, only with this set, all the other light up figures, there weren't like a non-light up alternative. But for whatever reason, they decided, you know what, Mace Windu, we need to have a non-light up version of him. So that's what they did for the Clone Turbo Tank. It's not really easy or hard to say which one's more rare. I think if I had to guess, I would say maybe the light up one was on shelves longer, but it wasn't on shelves significantly longer because this isn't like a rare figure that's super difficult to get. I think they might go for around the same price today. I really liked the light up version of this figure back in the day because it was just cool to get another Jedi that wasn't one of the main characters. I appreciated that so much about it. But you know, even when I was younger, as quote unquote cool as the light up gimmick was for figures, I think like I much preferred just the normal figures because, you know, you don't always want to have these guys posted up with their lightsaber out. You couldn't actually even rotate the hand the lightsaber was on. It was all static. Like it was very limiting for, you know, a feature that I don't think was super necessary. I think that's also why we didn't see them do that outside of this wave. Having this figure right now finally in front of me is cool because, you know, as a kid, I always thought, you know, what might it be like if we actually got a version of Mace without the light up lightsaber, which ended up happening, you know, many years later with the Clone Wars. But this, as a kid, is what I wanted. So this fulfills that small part of me that never really got to enjoy this as a kid. In terms of the actual figure with detail, I mean, the face print's pretty simple. The torso print is also pretty simple. It's just his gray torso, and he just has the tan pants with the gray hips. The torso is unique to this figure because the light up version had the arm with the lightsaber attached to it. We never got this specific torso on another figure, so that's something that's, I guess, somewhat valuable about this figure. And then of course, like most figures from 05, he does not have any leg printing, but I like this figure. This is, I think, a good, like, for the first Mace Windu, well, kind of the first Mace Windu figure, it's a good figure. I like it. So let's go ahead and jump into the time lapse and throw these figures on the wall. Oh man, check out my minifig wall. That's looking so cool. Look at the minifig wall. It's looking so cool. And as you can see, guys, the wall is coming together so well. Once again, I love this part of the video because it just gives me such a good perspective on how much actual progress I've made on the wall. If we look at some of the figures we placed today, first up, you can see I actually had to add the Stormtrooper to this mess that's right here. This is basically a Rich Boy J error. I ended up placing a figure too close here, and then I just kept going, not realizing that there's supposed to be more figures between Ahsoka and that Stormtrooper. So now I'm kind of paying the price for it with all these figures. I just kind of have to stand up around Ahsoka until I actually shift the entire minifig wall. And I've talked about this before. That's not something I plan on doing anytime soon, but you know, once I feel I have enough figures on this wall and it's just time to do that, I'll go ahead and do that. But until then, I'll just keep adding to it because, you know, most of the spacing is correct. Right above that, we have the non-light up Mace Windu. That right there is a Rich Boy J childhood holy grail. So super excited that that figure is now on the wall. Over to the side, we went ahead and placed the Clone Wars Ayla Sakira, so she's chilling between crispy Anakin and that boy Cad Bane. I actually ended up placing a bunch of figures in the midsection of the wall, which was good because I need to start filling up that section of the wall a bit more. So we have the Wookiee right here from the Wookiee gunship microfighter. Also over here, we have that Yoda that came in the watch. And then right above him, we place the Agent Kallus without the headgear on. So minifig wall, once again, is coming together super well. Super stoked to be able to continue working on this thing. I actually already have some orders en route, so you guys can expect probably another minifig wall next week. I'm basically rushing at this point to get under 100 needed figures. I think right now, after this order, I probably need to purchase a total of like 137 more. So if we can make a bit more progress on this, add more figures to the wall, we'll be under 100, and I'll be really happy at that point because this is such a long process. You know, I looked at this wall before I made the video, placed the figures, then I kind of looked at it after the fact, and this is a pretty big haul. Like, I think this haul was at least 10 figures, and it still doesn't feel like I put a dent in the wall. I'm still seeing too many spaces, so I think I'm especially motivated now to really make some progress on this wall. You know, this is kind of a difficult thing to manage while building large-scale mocks and just the other LEGO endeavors that I pursue, but I think once this thing gets finished, this is going to be a very special part of this room. So that's going to finish up the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.